Alan Hahn's Knicks Fix. Welcome back. Al traveling on the Chase Bridge. Alan Hahn down in the Squarespace studio. Alan, just a few minutes ago, head coach David Fizdale said Kyrie Irving is one of the few players that he would pay to watch. That's the kind of player he is. What about his future? What do you see?
Well, he is going to be a free agent at the end of this season. And when he made that announcement early in the summer that he was not going to sign an extension with the Boston Celtics, a lot of rumors started to float as he would join a very big free agency class in 2019. Everybody knows the Knicks have money, and Kyrie Irving is a guy from the New York area, New Jersey product. So that's where a lot of the rumors began. But at an open practice on October 5th, he made this declaration.
Shared it with some of my teammates as well as the organization and everyone else in Boston. If you guys will have me back, I plan on re-signing here next year.
Boom!
So I appreciate it.
So, I mean, I guess that means he wants to stay, doesn't it? Danny Ainge was quoted after he made this announcement by saying, "It makes my job a little easier knowing we're going to have Kyrie for longer than just a year," as they did make that trade with the Cavaliers last year for him. Now, the knee injury kept him out of the playoffs, and it's something that he had to rehab. And that left knee has been an issue for him, no question about it. The only question that remains is, will the Celtics give him that max contract? If he stays with the Celtics, he gets a max of 5 years and $188 million. If he signs with another team, it's 4 years and $139. So that's really the question that remains, because he says he wants to stay in Boston. He's probably off the market then for the Knicks, but he might be back on the market if the Celtics decide they don't want to give him a max.
Meanwhile, as we watch the NBA and the Knicks, we all look at the ball, but we have to also start looking at their feet.
Yeah, it's really something. You know, it's a new rule, and not a rule, I guess maybe they changed a rule where your sneakers had to be uniform, had to match the colors of your team. And then this year, the NBA got away from that. They have that new, remember that big deal with Nike now that handles all the apparel for the league, $1 billion deal. And you know, Nike certainly loves to have that expression in their gear, and they want the players to have that expression. Well, you know who else joined the NBA? Puma's back, and we all love Clyde, and Clyde obviously has the signature shoe with Puma. Well, Puma signed a bunch of young players, and that includes the Knicks' own Kevin Knox. Now, check out his sneaker. Now, you might want to put some sunglasses on, because those are certainly not Knicks colors, although there is orange in here. The yellow, though, however, I feel like I'm holding two lighters, by the way. But this is what Knox is wearing this year, and these are pretty cool. These are actually called the Puma Clyde Court Disrupt. And just like their namesake, they certainly have a lot of styling and profiling. But that's where the league is going these days. The players are expressive, and Kevin Knox certainly one of them. So while his game is shining, his sneakers are too.
Meanwhile, the NBA wants to get rid of the so-called one-and-done situation as far as college basketball is concerned. What have they come up with?
They have, well, first of all, just a report today from ESPN that the league and the union have had some hurdles in discussing the end of the one-and-done rule. In fact, drafting 18-year-olds once again. So that is on the table. That has been a discussion. In the meanwhile, however, while they're still trying to hammer out that kind of a deal, they still have to find a way to draw some players out of high school and into the G League instead of going to college. They're trying to make this alternative to going to college and have that one-and-done situation. Well, the money's not great in the G League. So one alternative they have that starts next year is called select contracts. It's players who are considered elite-level prospects out of high school, so 18 years old, not yet eligible for NBA draft, that they would get a $125,000 contract for a 5-month season, and you'd be able to play in the G League, and you get the professional experience and professional development that the NBA would provide. Now, that's a big difference compared to the average salary in the G League, which last year was $35,000. The question is, of course, will this be enough to attract players from going to big-time college basketball and instead ride the buses in the G League?
It all brings us, young man, to the stat of the night.
Stat of the night, well, it happened last night, and it almost was an NBA record. But it did tie a franchise record, and that is turnovers. The Knicks only committed 3. That's a very clean game for this team. And in fact, they went over 30 minutes without committing a turnover till very late in the game with about a minute to go. So, do you think in the NBA history, has any team ever had a completely clean game with 0 turnovers?
No.
They have not. In fact, the record is 2. 2 turnovers in a game. It's happened 4 times, most recently by the Charlotte Hornets in March of 2017. And oh, by the way, they lost the game too.
All right, we'll see you at halftime.